Hi there. Welcome to Luna and the Druid. Today, um, we're continuing the Fool's journey. The Fool meets the ninth person on his journey, and the Fool today will meet the Hermit, also known as the Magus of the Voice of Light, the Prophet of the Eternal, and the Magus of the Voice of Power. The card that represents the 8, 9, and 10 of discs, also, and the star sign of Virgo. Virgo. So for today, we prepared a few topics. I'll share them with you. We have topic for the hermit: inner wisdom and introspection. We have guidance through darkness. The fool learns about seeking knowledge, about independence and self-sufficiency, connection to the universe, and cycles of renewal and rejuvenation.
Mm.
Yeah. So Luna, what's your take on the hermit?
Before we even start talking about the hermit, the image of the hermit we share with the Light Seer Tarot, which is my absolute favorite one, doesn't represent the traditional way of the hermit. And I would start with sharing the traditional way of and the traditional looks of the hermit card. We can see here an elder man, a wise man, walking on a snow with his lantern, holding a stick, holding a staff, and looking not towards the front, not look facing forward, but looking more into the um, I want to say within, but
Yeah.
that's the main one of the main meanings of the
Yeah.
card. To me, the Hermit is one of the most spiritual cards in tarot,
Mhm.
and represents introspection, inner wisdom, finding our own guidance and finding our own light. Uh, yes, what did we have first on that
Well,
slide?
you already started off.
Inner knowledge.
I can show you the first topics were inner wisdom and introspection. So
Yes,
we're spot on.
I went ahead of myself.
No, no, you went right away. The funny thing you're mentioning is directionality. So I have an older hermit here, and as you can see, all the hermits, when you lay them on the table in front of you, they're watching to the left, and to the left
Mm.
is normally the direction. When you work with directions in the card, you say to the left we have the past, and to the right we have the future.
Mm. Mm. Thank you for
Oh,
sharing that. I
yeah.
didn't know that, and that's
Well,
amazing.
yeah, well, especially it's the Tarot de Marseille, which this one is from, so it's the oldest deck. Especially because the small cards, the minor arcana cards are very abstract. They're just swords, a number, cups, a number, staves a little, and discs a number, and they're very abstract. So direction, color, numerology are much more important. So symbolism is much more important than, for instance, in the card you showed, where the lantern is shining and leaning on the stick is more prominent. But in the Marseille Tarot, you learn to work with direction, which is a very good way of interpreting cards. Cards looking to the left are looking to the past, and cards looking to the right are looking into the future. And
Fantastic.
there's some really nice aspects there. And looking in the past also represents uh, looking for inner wisdom and introspection. We had a lovely live show Monday about introspection, where we did introspection more or less towards the other side, towards introspection of of interpreting your the future you want to manifest. The hermit interprets what they learned from the events that happened, and looking back at them and taking them, of course, taking them into the future, taking
Mm.
the learned lesson into the future. And then the fool knocks on the door of the hermit, and the first thing the fool learns is introspection.
Yes, it's funny that you mentioned that left is the past. To me, when I look at the cart and the image of a cart is looking down, that's the past. When it's looking in front, that's the present, and when it's looking up, it's the future. And very often you can see it in people as well. When people are talking about the past, they tend to look down. When people are talking about the present, they will look straight. But if they're thinking or trying to get a creative answer, they will look up. So it's interesting how those tiny little details can tell so much and give so much meaning.
Yeah, and like we've seen before, um, none of these rules are set in stone. When you interpret the cards from above to below, that's perfectly viable. The reason for looking at the past and present and future, left and right, comes from when we started learning, because one of the first spreads you learn is a three card spread, past, present, and future. And then you have the left side representing the past and the right side representing the future. So I kept on doing that and never bothered about above and below, because above and below in my readings represent other meanings. Below means the inner, and above
Mm,
means above, means the higher self and the realm of spirit. So that, but what you're doing is perfectly viable, and there's no wrong or right. That's the good thing. Once you start working with it, once the cards know how you will interpret them, they will show up in the right place.
absolutely. And that's what I love about our conversation, especially about Fool's Journey, because every reader will have a little twist and tweaks to the meaning of cards. And
Perfect. Yeah.
by listening to more than just one tarot reader, we can learn so much. And obviously, Jan is an expert on tarot. He's the best tarot reader in Ireland. And he has so much wisdom in terms of historical background behind tarot as well. So it's absolutely a pleasure and an honor to have those conversations with you and learn from you,
Yeah. Well, it
because it
works both
deepens
ways.
my practice and it deepens practice of every single person who watches this.
Exactly. It helps broaden your scope, because I might even use your method when it shows up and I feel it's appropriate. That's I
Mm,
learned something here as well.
thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
It's amazing to hear that.
Yeah.
So, speaking of introspection, this card, the Wake Me Up Tarot, represents ideally the idea of going within that introspection and looking what's inside, looking and searching for that inner light of guidance.
Yeah. Yeah, I see the learning by meditation and going within into meditation in this card, and that's actually the first lesson. Uh, the fool has so far always been reliant on the outer world, on the world around him, and now for the first time, of course, a little bit with the priestess already, but now for the first time he really learns to go deep within, seek the answers within by meditation, self-reflection, solitude, self-discovery in solitude, and all these methods of going within, find the answers within, and not necessarily without, of not always without. It's an
Mhm.
addition to what he already, or what they already do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Moving on.
Moving on, we see guidance through the darkness.
Mm.
That's your topic. Headed by Luna.
Be a specialist for guiding for the dark night of the soul and other situation where we face our darkness. Why do I love darkness so much? Because that's where the biggest growth happens. That's all the transformation happens. I love the analogy of planting a seed. If any of you is a gardener or had anything to do with planting seeds, plants, then knows that the transformation and the process starts where we can't see it, in the darkness, in the soil, when we plant the seed. Well, first of all, it has to be the right environment, the right amount of water, the right amount of the right soil. With, I'm not going to talk about gardening here, but my point is that the environment around has to be the right in order to support that grow, that
Yeah.
growth, and just spark that big boom, which turns into a blossoming plant. But we can't see it. Everything happens under the surface. And the hermit teaches us that the darkness is equally important as the light. Would you agree with that?
I totally agree, and I really like your analogy to gardening, because I often say when I get a very dark card that it represents a seed that is flowering, that is germinating, and then happens to be to be germinating under a stone or under a small rock, and then the real lessons come. You know, the challenges, the inevitability of challenges, to trust your inner flame and perseverance. Ex- so persevere and follow your intuition. You know that the road you're taking is the road up or the road out of it, and following the wisdom from within. And uh, and especially when you look at the cards, I have a uh, as usual, my historical cards with me, especially in the Rider Waite card. You can see the darkness that surrounds the hermit, and you see the reason why he carries the light with him, and because he's in the dark and he lights his path, he lights his way ahead. Something we also see in the Thoth, and in all three cards you see the direction is the same one. So there is a big in the traditional tarot, always a big one of introspection into the darkness, going from the darkness into the light. That's
Mm. And why introspection is so important, especially when we're in the darkness, because that's when we can hear the voice of our inner self, the intuition, the higher self. That's where we can hear the guidance coming from literally our gut sometimes, when we take a step back and just switch off everything around us, which may be a distraction. So figuratively speaking, switch off the light so we wouldn't see anything which would distract us, but we could look what's within and listen to what's within. And the darkness is so needed because without the darkness, there is no light. And without the light, there is no darkness. And what is really important to understand is that we as humans, as a soul, have both light and the darkness within us. And I always say, let's not demonize the darkness because darkness is not equal evil. This is a stereotypical thinking that darkness means evil. Not at all. Darkness is just things which are not seen when we look at them like straight away. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. And the darkness, and sometimes we find the light within ourselves. We have a lantern with us. Sometimes we have the sun, and even in the darkness, we have all kinds of variations of the moon
Mm.
shining light
Mm.
upon us.
Yeah. And this
Yeah,
card represents it beautifully as well because she sits here in solitude, and she is shining her own light, guiding others as well.
yeah,
Um, I'll show, perhaps I'll show it again.
yeah.
You see, I
Perfect.
love this
Thank
image.
you.
I absolutely love this
Yeah,
image. Yeah.
yeah. So next topic:
Mm.
seeking knowledge. Seeking knowledge.
Well, the hermit is the wise one, isn't it?
The hermit itself is the wise man, and so the fool comes to the hermit to find knowledge, to seek it there, to find wisdom and knowledge, and that's the lesson of the hermit for the fool in this case is that uh, although it's very important to have your teachers, to have your mentors, to have your courses, to your schools, your even your parents, to have the guidance of the hermit, but also uh, the discovery and self-study, um, not just depending on the external sources. It's about finding this intuition within, and that's the seeking knowledge part. So finding the balance between external sources, but then integrating them.
Mm,
I know a lot of people um, also in the spiritual world who are like healers or practitioners or life coaches who uh, who never stop doing courses and stop or never integrate them. They say I want to add a new skill to my list of skills. You know, you see a lot of them. I'm a Reiki practitioner, a reader, a healer, a light worker, life coach, the whole list of everything they have ever studied. And uh, that's also what the hermit teaches. Sometimes you just have to stop uh, pulling in knowledge from outside, but integrate it. Give it some time. Take a year out. That's what I actually did in my Druid study, which you officially can do in 5 years, but which took me nearly 30, because sometimes I found something that I wanted to deepen, and then I took just put my Druidic study, which was a lifeline through all these years, but put it aside to 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 focus on one thing, working with that, internalizing it before I moved on to the next topic. So there's a lot of wisdom in integrating the knowledge you have at a certain stage, and then of course we never stop learning. Hopefully, you know, we will life will always teach us lessons, and so never stop learning, but also occasionally take your time to integrate the knowledge, to also to find the things that connect your knowledge, create your fragments of knowledge into a holistic part. And that's what the hermit does when the fool comes to seek knowledge.
exactly. I call it becoming your own guru. Because, of course, especially when we are on a spiritual path, but in general, when we want to learn something, it is important to have a teacher. It is important to have somebody who will show you the way. But at some point, we get to the place where we need to integrate that, and we need to start choosing our own path and our own wisdom. um, it's like there is nothing bad with doing courses and gaining new skills, but just like Jan said, it is important to put the theory into practice. um, I see it very often in the spiritual community that people just do this course just like you said, and it's an ongoing learning, but they don't bring those gifts to other people. Then they don't share those gifts with others. They keep their inner light just to themselves, uh, instead of shining that light upon the others. And
That's it.
for example, if you read a book about building an engine and this is the theory, technically you will know how to build the engine, but it doesn't mean you will be able to do it in practice.
No.
So exercising and bringing that theory, so the mind realm, into a physical, so it's like moving from the energy of swords into the energy of pentacles, which is the
Yeah.
environment, which is the earthly realm, is super important. And Hermit teaches that, a full, that the importance of what's above, so below.
No, that's it. And the importance of integration and a holistic approach.
Mhm. So true.
So
So true.
brilliant. What do we have next, Luna? Yeah, a big lesson: independence and self-sufficiency. Woo!
Mm, tell me about it.
Of course, I will tell you about it. Yeah, it's about trusting your own judgment. So the fool comes to the hermit, says, What can you tell me about living independently and self-sufficiently? How do I do that?" Well, the hermit says, you can learn by doing. This is something you learn by doing, stepping into the deep. And of course, we we see the fool in his stereotypical uh, on the edge of the abyss, and the little doggy trying to warn him that when he jumps goes any farther, he jumps in. But the hermit learns him to trust his judgment and to take the step and to make the own choices, make the right choices, and be comfortable on your own. Be comfortable outside of your comfort zone. You know, we're all
Mm,
comfortable inside the comfort zone, but that's not where the fun happens. The fun happens without. Sometimes I say living outside of the comfort zone or even living outside of the box. Sometimes just get rid of the box.
yeah,
Don't live outside of it. Throw it away. Bring it to the recycling and get rid
yeah,
of the comfort zone as well.
I love that actually.
Yeah,
To
yeah, yeah,
get rid of the box.
yeah,
Um, it is important to trust our own guidance and our inner wisdom. I observe many people being scared of, first of all, making decision in the first place, and then doubting that decision and not being fully committed to it because there is something stopping them there. And it's most likely that box you mentioned, the idea which they don't want to see through like feather than just that box. So it's an absolutely fantastic advice. Just throw away the box. Yeah.
yeah. Throw away the box and
And
become independent. Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
that
Oh, there's no. Yeah. Well, there's a box around the hermit, but the hermit itself is out of the box. He's on
exactly,
top
but
of the mountain. There's nothing there.
he's on his own and
He's on
he
it.
is
Yeah.
courageous in terms of every action he takes. He's not worried that there's no other person surrounding him because he's confident within himself that
Mhm.
whatever decision he makes, it's the right decision for him. And of course, only time will tell is the decision right or not. And I always say that there is no such a thing as right or not. There are either blessings or lessons, which are blessings in disguise.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hardly use the the paradox of the good and the bad. I say there's good things and there are other things.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like
It's
that.
helpful. Helpful. So next topic, Luna. We come to connection to the universe.
Ah,
Connection to the universe. So that's that's yeah, well, that's the law of manifestation. It's seeking meaning and purpose beyond seeking meaning and purpose beyond the tangible world, seeking meaning and purpose in spiritual practices, in connecting with nature,
mm,
into delving into philosophical questions about existence and purpose, and discover the hidden aspects of yourself, discover you.
yeah.
And this is one of the most important lessons that the hermit gets after the lesson of independence. It's a lesson of manifesting change.
Yeah, and answering the question, what is that I came here to do and achieve and show to the world? Is it paying bills and going to a pub every Friday? Or maybe there is something else, something deeper? What is that I came here to share the light here, the star in the lantern? What is that I came here to share with the universe, with the world, with other people, with other souls? What is my learning here? What are my lessons I came here to tackle?
Yeah, yeah, and it's also relying on the fact that you're in the arms of the universe. That the
Mm,
universe will guide you, and that when you show up unafraid, unbiased, with an open mind, manifest your dreams, your wildest dreams, or just manifest happiness, and let the details over to the universal forces. The power that's in that is immense.
Mhm. And I would
Very,
go even one step further and I would say, oh, where you show up regards the fear, despite the fear. Because fear is a natural emotion. It'll always be there. But
yeah,
if we are strong enough to just do and courageous enough to do something despite the fear, magic and miracles happen.
that's it. Always the
Yeah.
one who steps wildly into the unknown has the most fun and the best after parties.
Oh, it took me just on the spiral back to the past where I could give many examples that that's exactly how it works.
Yeah,
But let's not go there, maybe.
yeah,
I like to have my secrets.
yeah. Let's move on to the final topic: the
Yes.
cycles of renewal and rejuvenation. Renewal
Mm,
and rejuvenation.
yeah,
Stepping away from the external world, and it allows to return to source, return to fresh perspectives, renewed energy. Yeah,
yeah,
representing a time of internal cleansing, the cleaning the ethic. They call it like cleaning the mind. The mind is in the ethic, and when your mind is disturbed, you have toys in the attic, and
yeah.
the cleaning the attic, cleansing, renewing, discovery of knowledge, discovery of intuition. That's yeah, the final
Mhm.
lesson of the hermit.
I was showing the card, which exactly represents the cycle here you mentioned. This is the cycle here. We can see the moon is renewing itself. Obviously, it's a metaphor. Hello, my
Yeah,
oh, there it is.
yeah,
There it is. And obviously, here's the inner word. What I want to show you here is that key. You see, he locked the entire the outside world. He locked it here, and but he is holding the key. So he is the one who can make a choice. He is the one who takes action, and he is the one who chooses to go within instead of focusing on what's going out outside.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Mhm. And obviously, by meditation, like I always rejuvenate when I go within. I have to some from time to time just switch off everything literally and be with me in order to replenish my energy. And
yeah.
that's what the hermit told me, that the magic happens within. And in
Perfect.
order for it to manifest on the outside world, the transformation has to happen here first.
Boom. Yeah. And then, so that's where we can complete the journey or the visit to the full, saying, as above, so below, but also as within or as without, as within. It's
Mm,
the whole complete picture of all directions and all four directions or all four elements and the fifth element, spirit, guiding it all.
yes. And with that being said, I think we came to an end of the fools encountering the hermit. Beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful lessons, very important, very spiritual, and very transformative as well.
they are. They are. So thank you all
Thank
for
you.
watching. Thank you, Luna, for sharing your wisdom with us.
Likewise, Jan, thank you so much. It's a
And
pleasure.
looking forward to see you next Monday.
Bye.
Bye all.